Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'll show you how to make vegan moon galaxy cake. My channel is called Lily and Peony. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I start with adding some apple cider vinegar to non-dairy milk. Mix that together and set aside. In a large bowl, I have some flour. To that, I'm adding baking powder, baking soda, and some salt, and also cornstarch. Mix that together and add sugar. Continue mixing the dry ingredients until they're incorporated together. To that, I add some maple syrup and some flour oil and the milk mixture that's been sitting around for at least 3 minutes. Mix these wet ingredients into the dry ingredients until completely mixed together. Be sure not to overmix them. When my mixture is done, I get myself a bowl and set aside 1/3 of the mixture. That will be the white part of the marble cake I'm trying to make. In the larger bowl, I add some coffee and also cacao powder. I mix this together and this forms the chocolate part of my marble cake. I'm using a round domed pan to make my moon cake and I am greasing it very well. And then I add some grease-proof paper. As you can see, I've made some cuts here because I want to make sure that it sits in my dome baking pan snugly. Then I add my mixture a little bit at a time. I start with the chocolate one and then I add the white color mixture. I use a steel straw, but you can use a toothpick to mix this together. Mix them together in swirls so that you get a marble pattern. Continue adding the chocolate and then the white portion of the cake batter a little bit at a time. And when you're done, bake for 25 minutes. Make sure you check the consistency to make sure it's baked through because the middle part is actually quite thick. For the buttercream, I add some vegan butter and some vegetable shortening to my stand mixer. I mix this together on medium-high speed for 3 minutes to start with, and then I stop it and scrape the sides because I want to make sure all the butter on the side is also incorporated into the buttercream. Then I mix this together again for 2 to 3 minutes. After that, I add some confectioner's sugar. I like to add this half at a time and mix it on very slow speed to start with. This way the sugar gets incorporated without creating a sugar dust cloud. Do scrape the sides at least one time because as you can see there's always sugar stuck on the side. You want to make sure that it's incorporated into the buttercream. I also add cornstarch to my buttercream to make it stiffer and easier to decorate with later on. I use a small piece of black fondant to cover my cake board. I roll it out in cornstarch so that it won't stick to my surface. I roll the fondant out until I'm able to cover my entire cake board. I put a little bit of water on the cake board so that my fondant will stick to it. I also added a little bit of extra water around the edges. Then I smooth it with a fondant smoother. I also used another fondant, this time in gold glitter, because I wanted to make some stars for my decoration. Once my cake layers are completely cooled, I level them as much as I possibly can while still trying to keep a round spear-like structure. Then I cut off a little bit of the bottom of one of the half circles because this will be the bottom of the moon and it will be sticking to the cake board. I need to make sure that there's a little bit of flat surface. To that, I cut a 6-inch cake board into a size that fits the bottom of the cake. And then I use a spoon and I carve out some crevices, just like there are in the moon, craters and crevices. I do this to both sides of the cake. I stick the smaller cake board I cut out earlier to a 6-inch cake board because this is easier to decorate on, and also later on when I detach these two cake boards, it will also be easy enough for me to do. Then I add a little dollop of buttercream to the small cake board so that my cake will stick to it and not move around. And then I attach the bottom half to the cake pop first and put a layer of buttercream between the top and the bottom of my cake. Then I continue decorating it as usual. I put a layer of buttercream all over this spear of a moon cake, and I also made sure that the crevices were fully covered with the buttercream as well. But you want to make sure that you cover it with buttercream, but also scoop out any excess buttercream because you want to make sure that the crevices show just like they do on the moon. I use a cake scraper to scrape off any excess and also to create a smooth surface. I chill my crumb-coated cake in the freezer for 30 minutes. Whilst my cake is chilling, I continue to decorate my cake board. I have some white luster dust here that I am going to dab onto my cake board. This helps create the illusion of little stars. I dot this white luster dust around, and then I also draw some small stars onto it. I continue this, and then I also add some silver luster dust and also some gold luster dust, as well as some pink luster dust. You can be as creative here as you want to. Just continue adding a little bit at a time until you feel like you have the feel of a galaxy. I used a different brush as well as my finger to smudge some of the luster dust to create a galaxy effect. So as you can see, you really can be as creative as you want here. I wanted my stars to be very glittery, so I added some gold luster dust and some gold sparkle into my small bowl and added some lemon juice to it, mixed that together and dabbed it onto my stars to create a very sparkly effect. I did 2 coats on both sides of the stars. After that, I took out my cake from the freezer and I started on the second layer of my buttercream. I smoothed this out with a cake scraper, and I also made sure that the crevices, any extra buttercream in the crevices, were scraped out as well. I wanted to create somewhat of a smooth surface, but the fun part about this cake is also you don't need to be too precise. The rawness of it does make it look like the moon, and the end effect looks so beautiful. Chill this again for 1 hour or overnight if possible. The reason why I say overnight is because eventually when you need to put the cake onto the board, the colder it is and the stiffer the buttercream it is, the easier it will be to handle. I actually left my cake overnight. That's why the cake was very easy for me to handle. After placing the cake in the position that I wanted, I dabbed a little bit of water onto the back of the stars and I placed them onto the cake board, and this was it. My decoration was done and the cake was done. It turned out really beautifully and I hoped you liked it. I also cut into the cake because I couldn't wait to taste it, and I also wanted to see how the marble effect looked. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye-bye.